Hello up there in video land. Let me get my radio guys going and then we're set to go. Don't be a chooch. Yeah, let's get our guys going here. Hello on the radio. Here we are. We got the radio going. We got the video going. Hello up there in video land. Subscribe, hit a like, do everything you got to do to keeping up on the show. Because that's what we want you to do. We want you to get notifications. We want you to watch the show. We want you to share the show, and we want you to tell your friends about it. Yeah, we got Venom. I'm spitting Venom this morning. I'm ready to go. I'm reared up. I've been waiting since 11:30 to pump this video and get it going here because we got lots to talk about today. A lot to talk about today. We're going to hammer a lot of people. Oh, yes, we are. That's what we do here. First, before we get to anything serious here, my name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. For those of you listening from parts unknown. Don't forget tonight, Niagara Falls City Council meeting starts at 2 o'clock for the councilors, where they go into an in-camera meeting, have pizza and wings, and then what they do is talk about top secret stuff. Yeah, and we talked about a little of the top secret stuff, how they're going to spend our money. Okay, and don't forget that starts at 4 for you guys, probably around 4:30. They usually go into in-camera. It's usually 2.5 hours of whatever. And then they come back out and start the real show. The real show where they dip into your pockets. And also, I want to mention a little correction yesterday with Dave Wheeler and I. I had been sitting here, we were talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I did mention that somebody had said they wanted to cut $50,000 from the fireman budget. And of course, that was Ruth Ann Newestake, Councillor Newestake, only 8. But for some bizarre reason, my mind wasn't working right. And I said it was Laurie, Councillor Lococo. No, it wasn't. It was Councillor only 8, who said she wanted to cut $50,000 from the $30 million fire budget. Thank you for the correction, Gary Wilkins. He watched the show and sent me a correction saying it wasn't Laurie. It was Ruth Ann. Yeah, I knew that. I said it the day I said it before, but I don't know what happened. My apologies to Laurie. Of course, it wasn't you. And let's put it on the right person and get going. And thanks, Gary Wilkins, my buddy. Thank you very much for letting me know that. I appreciate it. And that was in the comments on the video. Leave comments. I do read them, and I do talk about them on air. And we'll have your comments later on. But for now, we're just going to go through my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. Now, we have not bad weather here. I mean, we're in February here. This isn't bad weather for February. But you know what? Your car always acts up. There's always something going on with cars. They're mechanical creatures. They do need maintenance. And if you're going to get your maintenance done, go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Ken Hunter, the owner, is going to put you on his scanner. Well, not you, your car. He'll put you on the scanner too. He'll plug you in. But he's going to put your car on, tell you if there's any error codes on the car, and fix those error codes. He's going to check all your systems, make sure everything's running right, because that's what you want. You want your car to run right in this kind of weather. It snows, it gets nice, it's sunny, it snows. We're in that cycle now for another 3 weeks, and then guess what? March 1st is summer. So get your car checked out, and then you're going to be taking it in to get the summer inspection done. Make sure you get it running. You want it running good. You don't want to break down. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the dealership, the Kia dealership. Go check them out today and tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you, and support our sponsors because they support the show and they support the city. Okay, let's move on now. Let's do viewer comments first. I had a lot of comments from the January 31st show. So we'll talk about them and any other comments. I got a couple of emails to read off, and just a little housekeeping here to go along with on Your City, Your Voice today. Okay, Dave Wheeler, 1158. Congrats on the 45 years. Thank you very much, Wheels. You were in here yesterday, of course, doing co-hosting my city council agenda show. Um, yeah, he's talking about 45 years. Me and Liz have been together 45 years. So there you go. At 881 Slick, half a century. That's amazing. Absolutely beautiful that you have the love of your life, Paul, ML and R. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate that. At Wingworth, I agree with you about freezing immigration and find the student visa absentees and deport them. So what I talked about was my take on it is they should freeze immigration for 3 to 5 years, let Canada catch up to everybody they brought in, and in the meantime, start getting rid of deporting these 1.2 million students on visas in the country whose visas have expired. They're supposed to leave. Nobody knows where they are. And there's another 50,000 who applied for student visas, never showed up for the first day of class when they got them, and they're wandering around. Plus, I don't know, hundreds of thousands maybe of refugees that have just come in and are wandering around as well. Time to get our act together. That's what I said. And I said that if Canada got their act together and showed Trump they're serious, he's not going to put any tariffs on. Everybody, relax. I told you he's not going to put tariffs on. As long as Trudeau gets his act together about the border. And I had a lot of arguments about this. Tons of arguments, people going crazy. I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, you agree with me? And that wings worse, I agree with you. Come on, let's get going. At 881 Slick, happy birthday, Liz. Much love and respect. Hope you have an amazing day. God bless you and Paul. Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. At Penny Brookify, I remember attending one of the Get Out the Vote rallies in Silvertown. Now, back in 2018, I ran along with Adam Hyde, Ralph Panucci, maybe even Christian Mancuso was helping us a bit. We ran rallies around the city. We had one in Chippewa, Silvertown. We went to different areas, Stanford Center, South End, North End. We tried to cover the city with rallies to get out the vote. And this is what at Penny Brookify is talking about, attending the one in Silvertown and then going for a beer at the Bellevue afterwards. That's right. We had a nice rally. Ted Salcy showed up and gave a nice little speech there as well about getting out the vote. And then we all went to the Bellevue after. It's not open anymore, but afterward for a beer. Penny Brookify says, dismal voter turnouts are so frustrating. Congrats on the 45 years. You and Liz have been together longer than I have been alive. That's a statement. That's a statement. But yeah, we're old. We're old. What do you want me to do? You're thinking about finally popping the question? And I said, and I go, no. I believe in long engagements. And we're going for a world record at this point. That's right. So thank you very much for the nice comments. And at Penny Brookify, I know the family, fantastic people, good friends of mine, the whole family. So I don't know Penny Brookify that well, of course, because she's one of the children of the guys that I know. But yeah, I've known them for a long time. They've known me and Liz for a long time. So thank you very much for that at Penny Brookify. I appreciate it. Now we got one from at Reg Wall 2026. And I don't know if you know Reg Wall. I do. Happy birthday, Liz. Wow, all those years to put up with Paul. Reg. Good point, Reg. Good point. Good point. Good point. And thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And I don't know. After 45, I mean, we're gonna. I guess it's till we die now. Till death do us part. We said that a long time ago, and I guess that's going to happen. And at Wingworth, there will never be an answer about the helicopter as it was military. So we were talking about the crash on the Potomac River there where the helicopter ran into the airplane. In mysterious circumstances, maybe talk about that a little bit later as well. I really haven't had a lot of chance to talk about that, but I think you're right. We may never hear the truth. We hope that Trump, because he is being pretty transparent about everything he's doing, right as he's signing executive orders, he's telling everybody what they're about and why they're going to do it. So I'm hoping he'll be as transparent as possible, and we'll get the real story behind that crash and that. But we'll see. we'll see. But a lot of times, you're right. With the military involved, you never get the right answer. You never get a closure on it. I also received a follow up letter from the lady that sent me the letter about U of Niagara Falls, and I wanted to read it now. She had initially sent me a letter that she also forwarded to the Ombudsman, Ontario Ombudsman, about University of Niagara Falls, the land they're building it on, and selling the land to the University of Niagara Falls. Now, in that letter, there was a lot of information, and I did read it on there. And there's some, I guess what you would call interpretation of what she said that she said wasn't right. So she wants to set the record straight. So I'm going to read you the email to me as she sent it. There seems to be some incorrect information about my letter. I never said the trip was about to occur to China. So she was talking about a little bit she had in there about a trip to China by, it seemed to be the Penguin, Serge Felicetti, and The Big Show. And I think a lot of people interpreted it as they were going to go, and it was being paid for by the University of Niagara Falls. Now she goes on to say the trip already occurred, and it was to Asia, and this is a snapshot of the review article about the trip. So she also attached the review article, and it was dated October 23rd, 2023, about the trip. I am suggesting to the government that this all expenses paid trip was paid for by Gus or the University of Niagara Falls. It's a global university systems. That's what they're part of. And all people who were in on the deal to sell the land to the university should not have been involved and declared conflicts of interest when they were speaking about the sale of the land to the University of Niagara Falls. The gifted trip is well over any spending limit. Thank you for all your help. She's talking to me now. I also want you to know that since the letter was read on the air, based on their LinkedIn accounts, Olivia Diodati no longer works for the university, but is studying at another Gus University in Vancouver, and Era Patel was promoted. So there you go. That's an update. She's clarifying a couple things, talking about a conflict of interest, and this is what she wrote the government about. And I thank her for that email, clarifying a lot of what you're speaking of. So the audience and the viewers know exactly what she was talking about, and can look up that article in the review archives if they want. It's dated October 23rd, 2023, if you want to read about the trip they went on and what she was talking about as inappropriate, perhaps, and also a conflict of interest when they talk about this because of this trip they went on. So, and it's great that she actually got some correspondence from other people who listened to the show. They reached out to her to talk to her more about it. And there was another great post about the MPP race in town that I thought was very good. As far as the race between Ruth Ann Nieuwesteeg and incumbent Wayne Gates. And the article was written, the post on Facebook was written by Tony Caruso. And I have permission to post this from Tony Caruso, who is a paralegal in town, has an office right next door to the studio here, and has run for city council and everything else. So I'll read you exactly what it says. Now it's snowing like crazy out there now. Wow, it's really snowing out there. Wasn't before. Okay, so this is the post. It's really good. So the Ontario PCs have decided that Councillor Ruth Ann Nieuwesteeg should be our next MPP. Bold move, considering she has no business talking about the carbon tax unless she plans to tax the air we breathe, given her track record with the high taxes she's voted for. Her and Trudeau should shake hands as they share the same policy, in my opinion. This is Tony talking now. Let's take a stroll down memory lane with her track record. Love spending your hard-earned tax dollars like it's monopoly money. Voted to hike taxes, city taxes, and jack up service fees because apparently you weren't paying enough. Enforced the COVID mandate like a hall monitor on steroids. Now, I don't know about that one. I 2022 is when she got in November, and I think most of it was over by then. So I'm not sure if that one is right on the money. I'd have to ask Tony what he meant by that because maybe he knows something that I don't. But I don't think she had anything to do with that unless, oh, she did enforce them like a hall monitor on steroids at the funeral home. I know that because a couple times I walked out. I walked away because, of course, well, and I'm going to talk about that later on too. As these phonies talk about uniting Canada. Well, they weren't united when they told me I couldn't come in the funeral home because I wasn't vaccinated. They wanted to see your vaccination papers and crap. Um, yeah. Did absolutely, so that's what he's probably talking about now that I come to think of it. Did absolutely nothing for the homeless except voted to hire more people to kick them out. Why? Because why solve a problem when you just sweep it under the rug? And doesn't return any emails. That's Tony's take on it. These are the same people who destroyed your career, shut down your businesses, and now they want your vote. The audacity. And let's not forget, Newstig is a true opportunist. One minute, she's running for city council. The next, she's eyeing Queen's Park. What's next? Prime Minister? Pope? Maybe she should have just stayed in her lane instead of treating public office like a game of political hopscotch. She's the wrong candidate, and MPP Gates will win again. Okay. Thank you, Tony, for taking this on the upcoming, for your take on this upcoming February 26th election. Regarding the Niagara riding candidates. And my opinion is Tony's pretty well bang on. Where's the democracy from the PCs and not even having a nomination meeting? I mean, this is democracy. You have people there, they run for a position. The PC party members, like me, get to vote for who they want, and that person leads the Niagara riding. But they just appointed her. She's the Kamala Harris of Niagara Falls. And we saw how that worked out in the States. So, good one, Tony. I thought it was worth reading. Thank you very much for letting me read it on air. And a lot of the sentiments you said there, I also agree with. And everyone knows that I'm not a big Wayne Gates fan. I call him the Frito Bandito, but he is the incumbent. He does listen to and help people to the best of his Captain Dunsel ability, which is very limited, not being the party in power. He's another grandstander. He takes credit for a lot of things he and his party had absolutely nothing to do with. I could never hold my nose and vote NDP, but a lot of people do like the guy and have handed him the reins to the city for the last two elections, right? Enough to get his pension. 2 or 3 elections, maybe 3, at least 2. And I don't think that anyone running against him is going to change that outcome. There's nobody here. We haven't even seen we've seen a Green candidate. I can't remember who it was. And we haven't even seen the Liberal candidate step up yet. So it looks like a 2-horse race. And I just don't see her beating Wayne Gates. I could be wrong. She may have some big people behind her. I don't know. I mean, I know Jim Diodati is touting. I said on my show, how do you endorse a candidate without endorsing a candidate? Well, he did it, and I read it out before. So she may have some big wigs behind her. And Ford does like Diodati. I think he should be the one running, but he isn't. So, I mean, there's only two things. Either she has some big backers, and she was appointed for a reason by Doug Ford. I think Jim Diodati would be the better candidate, but he isn't. So that's moot. That point is moot. But at the end of the day, I think that it doesn't matter who is elected in this riding, because the real guy, and Ford said this, the real MPP in Niagara is Jim Diodati. So New Estate gets in, Jim Diodati. If Wayne Gates gets in, Jim Diodati. He's got the speed dial number for Ford, and that's the way it is. So for weeks now, I have been listening to all the orange mad TD yo-yos declare the end of the world because Trump was going to put the big bad tariffs on Canada and Mexico at midnight yesterday. Well, midnight today, right? Today it's really midnight goes to Tuesday, but they were supposed to go on today. And I've been telling everybody, relax. Trump isn't going to drop any tariffs on anyone. Take it easy. Don't be a chooch. Don't be a chooch and listen to these doomsday people. And of course, he just wanted a little help with the borders and the drug situation. And, people calling him Orange Man and Hitler and an oligarch and Cheeto Man. And I heard a real good one this morning. The Southern Psycho. The Southern Psycho or some crazy thing. I mean, these people, they have TDS so bad, they're laughable. The Southern Psycho, what they call him, something like that. I can't remember. There's so many different names. They call him names all the time. The guy's president. He's been in for 2 weeks, and he's done more than Biden in 4 months. Imagine Cheeto Man, Orange Man bad, Hitler, an oligarch, and the Southern Psycho, or whatever the hell they were calling, has to force our prime minister into doing what's right for Canadians. These people are all TDS Fauci infected clowns we're dealing with here. I mean, Canadians booing the national anthem at hockey games. Are you kidding me? All the bravado from useless Canadian politicians, the Justin dumbass threatening to start a tariff war he could never win. I mean, Colonel Ford banning all American booze, like that was going to accomplish anything. Freeland doing what she usually does, nothing. The only one making any sense being Danielle Smith from Alberta, who instead of continually insulting President Trump, she didn't call him Cheeto Man like the rest of these dopey Canadians. Well, she has the brains to figure out all Trump is asking for is Canada help him in his quest to stop illegals and drugs. You don't want terrorists. You don't want drugs. I mean, these are things Canadians shouldn't want. And he had to force them by threatening tariffs to go that route. Come on. And he's an orange man bad and a psychotic southerner, psychopath. That was it. Psychopath from the South. I mean, these people are whacked. Without the president having to do that, we'd still be importing terrorists. We'd still have open borders. We wouldn't have a border czar. We wouldn't put 1.3 billion into the border. And now we're going to have to shore up our military and contribute to the protection of North America, like we should have been all along. I've been telling people for over a week that rather than threatening Trump with their silly "if you tariff me, I'll tariff you" speeches, imagine walking up to a lion and telling the lion you're going to eat him. Just work with the guy. Trump doesn't want tariffs. It's no good for business. Trump's a businessman. Tariff wars, anything like that, it's not good for anybody. That's why he wants to stop all the wars. The war in Israel with Hamas and Iran, and he wants to stop the war in the Ukraine. Wars are not good for business. He's a business guy. He's not a politician. He's a business guy. Oh, my God. What happens? What happens? Well, Mexico and Canada do what they should have done, and from the beginning, not threaten. Have a chat with Trump. Tell him their plans instead of threatening him and calling him Cheeto Man and the Southern Psychopath and other names. That's all they had to do. And he goes down there and he lifts the tariffs for a month. But Trump isn't stupid. He's gotten a lot of lip service from these left-wing radical lunatics. He's got a lot of lip service from them. So he lifts the tariff threat for only a month to see if they keep their word. So he's going to see if Mexico's going to send 10,000 troops to the border to help with the cartel and the war on drugs and the war on the cartels. He's going to wait for Canada to appoint their border czar and also to see them spend 1.3 billion to protect the border. He wants to see it. And as Canadians, we're all proud, booing the American national anthem like it's going to do anything and pounding their chest. Buy Canadian. Buy Canadian. I got news for you. I have the freedom to choose where I want to buy and who I want to buy from. Thank you. That's part of the freedoms we have in this country, although they're trying to take them all away. I laugh because Canadians are truly oblivious to what President Trump is all about. They don't know. They don't get him. Canadians do not understand Donald Trump at all. They don't. They don't. I talk to them all the time, and they're so wacky. They have no clue what they're talking about. Listen, I do this every day. I do not watch Andy of Mayberry and all that. I watch news and news from everywhere. CNN, Fox. I don't subscribe to any of the stations. I go to YouTube and watch all of them. I watch all the speeches. I watch everything. I even watch the Canadian parliamentary channel at times. See what they're up to up in Ottawa. This is what I do. Canadians don't get it. They read headlines. Then they come up with stupid things. I mean, they can't get these words out of their vocabulary. Cheeto man and Southern psychopath and everything else. He don't care about the border. He don't want to be a dictator. He doesn't want to take over Canada. I mean, listen, if he wanted to do that, he had the chance 4 years ago when he got into office to do it. He never did. He never proved any one of these things that these people are telling you. This is all spin from the left-wing liberal media, and then that's all it is. And they're still trying to spin crap, even though they got their asses kicked in the election. They're still doing it. He could have done it in his first term, but he didn't. Somebody said, oh, yeah, well, there was controls on him, and he was waiting for a second term. How did he know he was going to get a second term? As a matter of fact, he got beat the last time. How do you know he was going to win this one? Why wouldn't he do it while he had the chance? He was right there, had power in his hands. Because he's not going to do it. And you know, the funny thing is that not one American was crying about Canadian tariffs. No. Not one politician or not one news story was crying about the tariffs Canada threatened to put on the States. The only ones crying were Canadians. Yet for some reason, they think their tariffs were going to bring the Americans to their knees. We'll show them. Seriously. They they thought they could cut off electricity so they couldn't watch the Super Bowl in the States. They have no, they always talk about Americans being dumb about Canada. Well, you know what? Statements like this prove they're dumb about the U.S. The U.S. has electricity. They have cattle. They have milk. They have wood. They have everything. They don't need anything from Canada. Do you think Canada hasn't been putting tariffs on the United States for the last 100 years? Of course they have. Of course they have. I mean, the United States has lots of oil and gas and everything else. As a matter of fact, our oil is so crude that we need the refineries in the United States to be able to refine the oil. We can't do it in Canada. We have nowhere. And we can't ship it anywhere because Quebec doesn't want a pipeline running through Quebec and everything else that goes on. So, yeah, they don't need our oil. We need them. Oh, and then the best with this is this goofball Schumer, the ultimate left-wing radical nutbar, saying, oh, you won't get avocado to put on your tacos. Hey, Chucky, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you my cousin's name, Mark Dieterichs. He has a whole orchard of avocados in his backyard. He lives in California. Give him a call. You want some guac? He'll send you the avocados. Are you nuts or what? These people are so stupid. Oh, man. I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm going to have a heart attack. I can't take it. Now let me just stop right here for a second. I'm going to get to my second sponsor and take a breather. Take a breather from this nonsense. So, what calms me down when I'm in this state of agitation? Don't be a chooch. What calms me down is a nice hunk of Victoria Avenue, Pete's Pizza. Pizza! Made with a Mancini family recipe, made with the Mancini family crust, and put together the way a pizza should be put together. The sauce and the cheese are in the perfect ratio. The pizza is cooked perfect. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mike knows how to do it at Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. But he just doesn't stop there. He has phenomenal wings if you like wings and pizza. He has poutine. He has steak and cheese poutine. He has panzerotti, steak stuff. I mean, the guy's got a whole menu. It's a fold-out menu of different items. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, going to satisfy you no matter what. You got to give him a call, 905-374, 374-2222. 905-374-2222, or go to petespizzavictoria.ca. And of course, they use all the different Skip and Dish Rag and whatever else it's called. I don't know. They use all them. So you can order and get a nice, fresh, hot pizza. Enjoy yourself. Calm down. And have a nice piece of pizza from Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Support our sponsors because they support the show and they support the city. So back to all this bravado from Canadians. Nothing happened because Canada said they'll help Trump with $1.3 billion invested in border security, along with naming a border czar to manage the borders. Mexico is promising 10,000 troops along the border to fight the cartel, stem the flow of drugs and illegal immigrants. As a matter of fact, illegal immigrant crossings have dropped 95%, and that's only 2 weeks in. And the 10,000 troops are going to man the border. That's all it took. Cooperation instead of confrontation. Ever hear that? Cooperation instead of confrontation. That's what you do. You know, I don't get it. Panama's bent their knee. Colombia bent their knee. So, yeah, everybody's falling into line. Everything's going well. We're going to get a nice, smooth North America and South America. Everybody's going to be cooperating to make it better for us, because if we didn't have all these people here, we wouldn't have the economic problems we're having in Canada. Now, here's the really one, the guys that get me, the ones that say Trump caved in. They caved in to Canadian pressure and Mexico pressure. I mean, that's nonsense. If they thought their positions were so good, Sheinbaum and from Mexico and Trudeau from Canada, why'd they bother to have meetings with Trump yesterday and plead their case? Why not just stay quiet, put their tariffs on, and prove to Trump that Mexican tariffs and Canadian tariffs are going to crush the big bad orange man, that southern psychopath? Well, that's one's easy. Both countries would have been destroyed. That's why both countries are crying and crapping their pants at the thought of tariffs from the United States, and the economies being hammered by the U.S. tariffs. I mean, come on. Trump's in control, and you're not off the hook yet. You better do what you say you're going to do, because if you don't, you know what's going to happen? Bada boom! You're going to get the tariffs right back. So come on, let's go. Smarten up. Trump got what he wanted, and that's all these politicians had to do. Achieve his goal of trying to make America great again. And of course, a strong and healthy America flows over the borders to help make a strong and healthy Canada and a strong and healthy Mexico. We're called North America. Working together only makes sense. Drop the insults, drop the bravado, work together with the most powerful nation in the world. That is our best friend. That's it. Make North America great again. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Isn't it? I think it is. We're on the subject of tariffs. Let me say something about these economists that are getting on TV and screaming doom and gloom and, we're going to do. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Why? Because all of them don't have a clue what they're talking about. They're glorified weathermen with numbers trying to predict the future. Think about it. The way to becoming a billionaire should be to be an economist. They know everything. They can tell you everything that's going to happen. They they know about the future. They'll tell you. They'll tell you, oh, if this tariff goes on, this is going to happen. This, that, that. These guys are shills. They teach. They teach economics. If they're so good, how did they make out when COVID hit? How come they didn't tell us what was going to happen to our economies and everything? Like they were shocked, just like we were. Any other natural disaster, they should be able to predict this. Oh, a hurricane's going to hit Florida. Okay, we're going to get ready for this. Sell, buy, sell. Do this, do that. Save. Take your money out of the bank. They don't. They're always wrong. They're always wrong. They're never right. And besides, if you think you know the future of the economy, you think they should all be billionaires. It'd be like knowing the winner of any horse race, right? And you drop a large bet on them and go count your money. And none of them are. They're not billionaires for being an economist. You think they would be? They know everything's going to happen. What are they then? They're graduates of left-wing radical schools where they end up teaching the same crap to feeble-minded students, rinse and repeat, who then go out in the world as some kind of expert that knows no more about the economy and where it's going than you or I. Believe me, don't let them gaslight you. Warren Buffett, $146 billion worth of Warren Buffett, said that any company that has an economist has one employee too many. Now, don't get me wrong. Buffett, Musk, and Trump have some background in economics. And that helped them make strong, informed investment decisions along the way and become billionaires. So they became billionaires because of hard work and innovation and ingenuity. And having a grasp of economics also helps. The talking heads of TV that teach some local coconut college, well, they're the ones you got to take with a grain of salt. Don't let them strike fear into you with their predictions. 84% of billionaires do not have a background in economics. 16% have a background in economics. They did it by hard work, having innovative ideas, inventive minds, and some by just inheriting it, of course. And all of them, even Trump, all of them, no matter what they say about Trump, hard work. You go to Manhattan with a few $1,000,000 and see how you make out in the real estate industry. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. He did. He did. Here's my point. When you see an economist preaching doom and gloom about these tariffs and disasters, shut the TV off. That's your best bet. Shut the TV off. Don't listen. And if you don't believe it, let the results be the judge and use common sense. It'll serve you way better than these false prophets. That's all I have to say about them, because they're on TV. Everyone, they're pulling these guys in from all over, telling everybody doom and gloom. Oh, we got to get ready. We got to do this. Trump's going to oh no, he's going to do it. He's there. He's arrogant. He's a boss. He's a bully. He's an orange man. He's a Cheeto. He's a Southern psychopath. What'd he do? They never came. They never came. So now Trump or Ford has to put all the booze back on the shelves. And everybody's got to rearrange everything they said because they were wrong. The economists were wrong. It drives me crazy. Drives me nuts. What's the matter with people? So now, because of all this, these economists, we got to buy Canadian. Buy Canadian. Big push to buy Canadian, whatever that is. What's made in Canada? Beaver tails? And the other part of that equation, buy Canadian, is to buy local. So what if your local guy who you want to support sells all American stuff or China-made stuff? Do you support him? Or you tell him to go broke because I'm going to another store and buying something that's made in Canada that you sell? Wow, what a dilemma. Ooh, what do I do now? What do I do now? Do you let him go broke because he's selling American stuff, or continue to support him because he's a local businessman? Oh boy, this is going to cause a brain explosion on these lefties. Here's my solution. I buy what I want. That's called freedom of choice. If I want something, I don't run around looking for a Canadian alternative. I buy it. When it comes to the pocketbook, a lot of products that come in from out of the country are cheaper than goods made in Canada, by the way, other than maybe beaver tails. But what is made in Canada? You can't support any fast food place. They're all American. Maybe Harvey's. If it's not, it's probably owned by something else now. I don't even know who owns Harvey's. I mean, Tim Hortons isn't Canadian. It's owned by some conglomerate out of Brazil or something. I mean, you got to buy all your beer from local craft breweries. Where do they get their hops and everything from? Maybe from the States. I don't know. Have to ask that question. Can't buy anything but beer there. A couple of distilleries that sell Canadian-made booze. But most of the big entities in Canada, whether they be booze or beer, they're all owned by big conglomerates from somewhere else. Even Tim's is owned by foreigners. Good luck searching out Canadian-made products and Canadian-made products of Canada. They have different meanings. A product of Canada and Canadian-made are two different things. So you got to look it up. Go figure that one out because that's another dilemma. Now I remember this saying way back when, we are all in this together. You know, these are the people who really make me laugh. The ones that say bye Canadian, saying Canadians have to stick together. Now, these are the same people, and I saw this on a video this morning, an excellent video that I posted on my Facebook page. The same people that wanted the truckers arrested and bank accounts frozen. Same people that closed down businesses and wouldn't let other Canadians into grocery stores, restaurants. They wouldn't let them fly on planes. They wouldn't let them into their house. Told their relatives to stay away. Kept you from visiting your dying loved ones because of a big bad virus. The ones that would rat on their neighbors. And here's Gary Wilkins, my buddy out there, that would rat on their neighbors for not wearing masks or having too many people in their bubble. Remember that? The bubble. Oh, you could only have so many people in the bubble. And if somebody saw more people go into your house, they call them. They call the bylaw guys, the cops. Go down there. They're busting their bubble. The ones that wanted to force everyone to get a vaccine, remember them? And if you did, they're going to fire you. All these people, all these Canadians who are saying, we are all in this together. Now they want to unite Canada. They're crying for Canadians to come together to fight the big bad orange man, Mr. Cheeto, the Southern psychopath. What a bunch of phonies. I'm sick of these phonies. Hey, I'm going to buy what I want and need and try to get the best price. That's my bottom line. I'm tired of the phonies. Bunch of phonies. Yeah, ask anybody. You know how many places I got thrown out of where I couldn't go into because I wasn't vaccinated? There you go. We're all in this together. Let's unite. Let's unite. Hey, I want to come in for a dinner. Oh, you can't because you don't have your vaccination card. Yeah, we're all in this together. Let's unite. Let me get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. Oh, man. Bob Benner was in last week, and I'm going to tell you, he's in the show. I never knew Hamel Machine Company did so much phenomenal work. These guys are inventors. They're innovators. They ship parts all over the world. They do all kinds of work for CanEng, for the city of Niagara Falls, different regions. Unbelievable work they do over that. But you know what the beauty of it is? They do a lot of industrial stuff, but they also do stuff for guys like us. That's right. You need anything fabricated. You need anything fixed. They're the guys to go see. They're going to do it for you, and they're going to do it for a good price. They're unbelievable. They take care of you. They help you design if you need design work. They'll do it all for you. They have electrical engineers over there. They have all kinds of IT people. They have water jet cutters to cut metal for you. They can program the computer to cut it to whatever you want. They also have 3D printers. So you can get something made on their 3D printer that you need, whether it's nylon, plastic, anything like that. They're unbelievable. They can re-engineer something. They can fix something. They weld. They do everything there. Anything you need. You need a custom rack for something in your house, for anything. They can do it. They can do it. And it's unbelievable. I never thought they did that much stuff. They are one of the industry in Niagara Falls that's a hidden gem. Hamel Machine Company. They have a place on Kent Street, and also one over here. They got Hauser's Welding that does most of their agricultural stuff. I'm right on Bridge Street. Unbelievable, great people. They'll take care of you, whatever you need. They're so nice. Go over and see Hamill Machine Shop. Support local business because they support the city. They support industry in the city. They support the show. Support our sponsors. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And subscribe to our channel. You guys out there in video land, don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Pound that subscribe button. I'm at 95. I need 5 people to get to 100. Woo! Let's go. Come on, sign up. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Okay, back to the show here. Well, Colonel Ford, that's what I call Doug Ford. Somebody said you can't call him premier because he's in the election cycle now. He's the candidate for the Progressive Conservatives. He's not premier anymore. I don't know. Okay. He's wrapping up his election campaign with a promise to widen the QEW from Burlington through to St. Catharines as part of his $220 billion plan to build more infrastructure across Ontario. In a presser at a campaign stop in Niagara Falls, Ford was joined by his candidates, and in this area it would be Ruth Ann Newestig, telling Ontarians that whether it's the largest expansion of public transit in North America, getting together and work on Highway 413, building the Brantford Bypass, or expanding the Garden City Skyway right here in the Niagara region. Huge projects coming down the pipe, employing people and everything else. Here in Niagara, widening the QEW between Burlington and Niagara will get people to work quickly, helping drivers get out of gridlock. Well, you know what? There's a funny thing. Speaking of Hamill Machine Shop, there they go. There goes Bob Benner right now. Helping drivers get out of gridlock. I don't know. That's a funny thing, because I used to work in Burlington. I worked there for 6 years, and that was when there was only one skyway. So they were building the new skyway at Burlington, and everybody thought, oh, can't wait to get this finished. It's going to really, really alleviate the traffic problems. And all it did was put more traffic on the road. Yeah, it was double busy both ways. So it really didn't help a lot. And now, what's that? Gosh, 1987, 40 years later, coming up 40 years later, it's bumper to bumper and everything else around there anyway. But an interesting fact presented by Mayor Jim. There hasn't been a new hotel room built in the Falls in 17 years. Now, I never knew that. Every city council meeting, there's somebody proposing a 77-story, 72-story, this, that. But to be honest with you, he's right. I can't remember the last time a thing was built. Maybe the Hilton. We probably have 20 projects on the go, but none of them have come to fruition. A couple have gone broke. No money to finish. But what's come to fruition lately? Nothing, although we have a lot. We haven't seen one shovel turn yet. Not on a hotel. I don't know when they're going to start turning shovels on any of these projects, but yeah, I can't think of it. Now that I think about it, he's right. And he's also pushing the Niagara District Airport. He claims we are the largest population in Canada that doesn't have a regularly scheduled daily flight coming out of an airport. I'm not sure how true this is, but that doesn't change the fact that a functioning airport with daily flights would not only be good for tourism, they'd be good for us. They'd be good for us. Good for locals. You love elections, promises made, promises kept. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Now, speaking of Ford, while we're on the topic of Ford, he's really dropped into loony territory now. Now he says he was happy that Trump became president. But when Trump pulled out the knife and stabbed him in the back, well, F him. Seriously, Colonel Ford. He said it's been a disaster. And we're 2 weeks in. I think they think Trump got reelected in 2020 or something. Like, I mean, he's 2 weeks in. Colonel Ford, TDS has caught up to Ford as well. This guy's idea to battle Trump is the tariff war, but they'll pull all U.S. booze. Tito and JD, that's all the booze they really have. They're going to pull them off the shelves and cancel Starlink. Now, this is a deal that he just defended a few months ago as being the only internet provider that could do what Ontario needed for places without access to high-speed internet. He's pulling that because of tariff wars. Here's the kicker. Ford promised $300 million to small business to help offset the ravages of pulling American booze and Starlink. But there's one caveat to getting this $300 million. There always is a hook, right? There's always a. Oh, he needs a huge majority on February 27th election. If he doesn't get that, you're not getting your $300 million. Well, I mean, the point is moot now because basically the tariffs never went on. But that's what they're saying. They were saying. And my question is, why do you even need an election, Colonel Ford? You already have a majority. You've got it for 16 more months or so. Just do what you want to do. You don't need a majority. You don't need anything. So why all of a sudden you're looking for 4 more years? At a cost of $200 million to the taxpayers, of course. Hey, he's going to give us $300 million, but it's going to cost us $200 for. See I swear to God, I'm at a city council meeting right now. Hey, we're gonna save $50,000 from the fire department, but we're gonna add another $58,000 to the operations budget. I mean, this guy's lost his mind too. I'm convinced of that. What is it? Is there something in the water? Too many injections? What is it? Fauci injections? And Marit Stiles, the socialist communist running the NDP, is taking advantage of this nonsense, saying Doug Ford only makes bad deals. That's all he can do. Still repeating the TDS mantra, Doug Ford didn't create this crisis, Donald Trump did. She blames Trump for a crisis in Canada that was created by their open borders, their spendthrift ways, giving money to everyone but Canadians, and their taxing them to death policies. And Trump told them to get their house in order. How did he create the crisis? He's only been president for 2 weeks. How did he create the crisis? Oh my God. I'm telling you, these people are nuts. We live in a nut world. The insanity. The insane are running the asylum. Oh, these people tire me out. They tire me out. They do an hour show and I go to home and go to sleep and eat a pizza. I'm done. Listen, Doug, don't be a chooch. Don't be a chooch. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's just so crazy. It's crazy. Well, this is interesting if you want to see something really neat. There's a new Doge clock next to the US debt clock. And right now it's reading about $54 billion saved so far by Elon Musk and Doge policies and cuts. And it's going up by about $1 billion a day at this point, 2 weeks into the Trump presidency. This is huge. He's cut so many positions. I mean, they're not going to get any more testosterone injected into tsetse flies in Africa. That whole program is cut. No more. 10 million on condoms for Hamas. Gone. They're not getting their condoms. It's over. These spendthrifts are done. We need them in Niagara Falls. Elon Musk is the Doge henchman, saying that saying that Trump administration can cut $1 trillion from the U.S. deficit next year. Musk has Trump support, says he's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and will not go where he wants to go if they don't agree with it. but so far he's doing great. He's a very smart guy. That's what we need for the city of Niagara Falls. Elon Musk. How about John Ringo Musk? He knows a lot. Yeah, I got another great email too. I got another great post here from Glenn Botting in New Brunswick, a regular listener to the show. And this was his take regarding Maxime Bernier's take on this trade war that is going on with President Trump. Now, Maxime Bernier came up with a big list of things, and he was right on. He was bang on the money on all of it. He understands. He understands. He's the one guy I read that understands. You may not like him, and somebody said he can't even win his own seat in his own riding or something. Doesn't mean his ideas are bad. Doesn't mean his idea it has nothing to do with his ideas. He didn't win. Okay, he didn't win, but it has nothing to do with what he says. You know, if he didn't win, he didn't win. I mean, it's tough to all of a sudden be a third party and a fourth party or whatever and come in and win anything in your first couple elections. It's just the way it is in Canada. We have, three parties, PCs, Liberals, and NDP, and the rest are fringe parties. Basically, they really don't get a lot of seats or a lot of votes. So here's what Glenn said. Put a fork in us. We're done. We are a weak, rudderless nation led by gutless money fairies, sprinkling our hard-earned tax money all over the world to the ungrateful. Just as a fart in an elevator, our feminist lefty refuses to leave until he new-scummed Canada and burned it to the ground. His New World Order ideas have destroyed our once great country. In 10 short years, unless we cut this cancer out, we are destined to a total collapse of our country. We need a Trump-like leader here in Canada. Okay, I don't see much wrong with that. Completely shut down the illegals, remove all 4 million of them from Canada. Okay. Make Canada first. I've been saying that for how long? Canada first. That's what we need. Canada first. Our government collects $500 billion in taxes yearly, and what does it do with it? It sure isn't used to help Canadians. So these are the kind of emails I get, and letters I get, and posts I see. Wake up. We need wholesale changes to our political leaders, as these self-serving idiots have done nothing but line their pockets while emptying ours. We're doomed to become somebody's bitch. Either we become the 51st state or run to the EU for a pat on the back and a welcoming hand in our pockets, unless we grow set and clean house with a big broom and rebuild with common sense, which apparently is not so common. So, FAFO. I guess that's a warning to the politicians. F around and find out. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. Poignant. And what you say is basically true. It doesn't appear that Canada can stand on its own any longer, since the Liberals have destroyed the country, starting with the communist PET in the 60s and ending with his communist son, Justin Castro. The country is a shadow of its once great self, with no relevance to the world affairs and unable to even defend its own borders. Not sure when or who will shut off the lights when it's over, but as sure as the Titanic sits on the bottom of the Atlantic, this country will go down hard. The invasion has taken place. There's no other way it can happen. Our best bet, team up with the USA and make one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. There you go. There you go. I don't know. What do you think? Comments. Let's go. Give us some comments. Very controversial show today. I'm saying a lot of stuff. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be butthurt. They're not going to agree. They're going to be yelling and screaming. But you know what? Hey, that's what this show's about. We comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. And if that's you, so be it. So what do we have? We have the southern border. I mean, it seems it's going to be cured by 10,000 troops being moved in by Mexico. But so far, there's firefights at the southern border. Cartels are ganging up and exchanging fire with the U.S. Border Patrol. And the U.S. is amassing agents and military at the border. Crossings have reduced by 95% and heading towards zero. Agents are now able to fire at illegals. And if they fire back, shoot to kill. It's another Spanish-American war at the border, with the cartels really controlling the country at this point. I think Sheinbaum is going to get it under control. Claudia Sheinbaum, the president, is going to get it under control with Trump's help. And I think we're going to cure all this. National Guard in Texas has been deputized and now can arrest and detain illegals, something they couldn't do before under Biden. It's getting real at the border, down Mexico way. And I guarantee that part of lifting any tariffs on Mexico or Mexican presence at the border will be a presence by its military. And I was right. I wrote this before it happened, and I was right. In LA, anti-ICE protesters are blocking freeways with signs that read MAGA. Mexicans always get across. Ingenious. Good one. Good one. The LA authorities could shut it down, but for some reason they're called off and stood down because it's a sanctuary state. That's why. Newscomb, that's the way he operates. So big deal. Let them cry, let them scream. They're going. They're on their way out. Oh man. So I mean, really, there's a lot going on, and I'm going to talk about my last thing about these 3 bizarre plane crashes that we've seen in the last month. First one was in Fullerton with a small plane crashing into a warehouse. The one in Washington on the Potomac, and there was one in Philly on crashing into a city street. The one in Fullerton was an experimental or a self-built plane that just had problems. The pilot couldn't make the runway and crashed it into a building. Doesn't seem like anything nefarious there. The one in Washington was weird. It was really weird. Flew straight into a regional passenger jet coming into Reagan International from Wichita. Well, why was it weird? Well, it was a clear night. The Black Hawk said it had visual contact with the plane, then flew straight into it. The plane was going to land on the main runway. Then it was told to land on runway 33, which means it's got to take a trip up the Potomac River, make a hard left-hand turn to land. And of course, getting right in the way of this Black Hawk helicopter. The Black Hawk was being flown by a pilot with 500 hours and was a former aide to Joe Biden. So she was the one who was piloting it, apparently, when it crashed. We might find out more about that. The pilot was female, alleged to be a DEI hire. The pilot that was named, this other pilot was named Joe, this Joe somebody. And he says, Joe Eller or something like that. He says he wasn't the pilot. He did a video. I'm not the pilot. They named me. I'm not even, no, I'm here. Here's a video. I'm alive. And also says there was no personnel on that Black Hawk helicopter that night. And there is stories about it having been experimental with they've been experimenting with remote control, flying these helicopters remote control. And this guy says there was no personnel in that Black Hawk that night. So interesting, this guy, he's talking. And the chopper was flying higher than the designated altitude for military aircraft in that corridor. So what was the chopper doing? Yeah, weird stuff. Haven't got any answers yet. I mean, I hope we will. Trump's in charge. I hope we will. Like the guy said, we may never find out, but I think something's going to come out of this. Now, the Philadelphia crash is the most interesting of them all. A plane takes off and just falls from the sky like a guided missile and blasts into a street and leaves a crater. No mayday call. The engines appeared to be working fine. Nothing seemed out of order until it took a nosedive into the ground. I mean, prayers for all these people who lost their lives in these accidents. I mean, it's terrible. And for this one here in Philadelphia, it had to be terrifying. I mean, these guys are going straight to the ground. There's nothing anybody could do about it. What's weird is only one of two things could have caused it that I can see. I mean, it was either done on purpose. The guy pushed down on the yoke and said, I'm taking this down, kamikaze style, or there was a mechanical problem that caused it. And, you know, I watch a lot of these mentor pilot videos. where this guy who's a pilot, he goes through these plane crashes and explains exactly what happened. And you got to understand, this stuff happens fast when you're traveling hundreds of miles an hour. It's like they tell it to you in slow motion, but it happens so fast. A lot of times, there's just no time to recover from what happens, and you get two or three small events that don't seem like a big deal, but when they add up, they're a big deal. So I saw another one like this, and what happened was is that the elevator on the back of the plane, there's an elevator on the back wing, and those elevators tip up and down. And if they tip down, they push the nose down. If they tip up, they push the nose up. And on the edges of them, they have what are called trim tabs, right? And those trims make slight adjustments to the plane as far as flying level or having to climb a little bit or whatever. The attitude of the plane, or the yaw on the plane too. I mean, if they put one up and one down, then it'll bank. So, but minor adjustments. Therefore, the elevator is what makes the big one. You start working that, and that's what makes you land and take off. So anyway, controls of the plane, nose up, nose down. Now the one that I saw had they have a rod in there, a threaded rod, which turns and it moves the elevators. Now they're up there and they're heavy. They're heavy, right? Well, what happened was the threads on this rod from fatigue had worn out, stripped, and that elevator came down. It just flopped. And once it did that, that plane was nosediving, and the pilots had no control over it, and there's nothing they could do, and that plane eventually crashed. And it looked exactly like this. Exactly like this. And this plane was just taking off, so it wasn't that high. So something like this would have been almost impossible, a failure like this, to control. Now, I'm not saying that's it. I'm not a pilot. I'm not saying it, but from what I saw and from what I've seen before, that's what it looked like to me. I mean, we're going to find out exactly what happened if they can. I mean, the plane disintegrated, so it has to be the cockpit recorder, the cockpit recorders that tell the tale of any failures in that. But I don't know if they'll ever find out why. But this is something that could have happened. I'm not sure, but that's just something that I'm thinking of. So weird crashes, 3 in the last month, basically, and loss of life and everything else that goes with it. Some people are leery about getting on planes anymore, but you know what? The bottom line is you're way safer flying than driving. For all the people that fly millions upon millions upon millions every day, planes are mechanical things. They do break. They do break down. They try to keep the maintenance up so they don't, but things happen. That's the way it is. So there you go. That's what I'm thinking. And that's it for me today. Gary, you got 5 extra minutes. How do you like that? Now, tomorrow, absolutely. All Habs, all shown. We don't have a lot of good stuff to talk about the last week unless they do something tonight. A late start tonight. I don't even know if I'll make it to game time at 10:30, but it's been not a really good week for the Habs. Straight Talk Thursday on Thursday, of course. Friday, Chris Regis is coming in. He hasn't been in a while. He's coming in to talk region and tariffs. This is going to be interesting because Chris has some really good takes on this, and he's not afraid to share his opinion on what's going on and what the United States should be doing and what Canada should be doing and how ridiculous some of this is, he'll probably say. So I'm looking forward to getting Chris in. Haven't seen him in a while on the show. First time for the new year. Always a good show when Chris drops in. And that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Subscribe, like the video, subscribe, leave comments. We'll get them on the air. And we'll be back tomorrow with Absolutely for you Habs fans. Other than that, don't forget, support our sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. You want to support our sponsors because they support the show. Have a great afternoon. It's snowing out. Hopefully it doesn't last all afternoon. It's going to be nicer. and I can get the heck home before it gets really goofy out there if it's gonna. Have a great day, everybody. God bless you all. Don't be a chooch. Support our sponsors. Subscribe to the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day. Ciao, ciao.